everybody. Welcome back to Build. I'm your host, Brittany-Jones Cooper, and today I'm talking to Fortune Feimster. The comedian, writer, and actress is here to talk about her new hour-long Netflix special, Fortune Feimster, Sweet and Salty, where she talks about her childhood in North Carolina, her family's complicated relationship with Hooters, and how a Lifetime movie changed her life. Put your hands together for Fortune Feimster.
Woo! I'm digging deep. A complicated relationship
all
with
of it.
Hooters.
Yes, right? Isn't that just makes people want to watch it just for that story alone?
Sure, they're like, what is that about? Let's find out.
First, I have to say congrats. This is a big deal to have an hour-long special out there. So how does it feel like it comes out today?
It's crazy. I've been working on this set for 2.5 years. I've been touring all over the country, the world in some places, and to have it finally, being able to share it with everybody today is crazy. Because like people were like sending me messages, commenting on jokes, and it's taken me a minute to be like, oh yeah, it's there, it's out there for the world to see.
And you said 2.5 years. I think people don't realize how long it takes to put together an hour. So can you just take me through like how many places you had to workshop these jokes and just the process for you?
Well, I had put out a half hour on Netflix on their stand-up season 1, and once you put out any material, you basically have to start from scratch. And so I was kind of like, okay, what do I want to say next? And then I started digging into all these childhood stories, and then I started talking about my coming out experience, and I finally realized like there's a very specific timeline here, and so in the first year, it was more just finding what this story was, finding the narrative. And I did that, I don't even know, like maybe 30 cities, something like that. And then in this last year, when I knew that I was probably going to put it out as an hour, I hit the ground running. It was like 40 to 45 cities this year, over 105 shows, just trying to make it as good as possible, because once it's, filmed, that's it. And I ended up finding like 2 taglines like a month later, and I was like, no!
And I love that you filmed this in North Carolina, right?
Yeah.
Nearby where you grew up.
Yeah, I filmed it in Charlotte, North Carolina. I'm from 30 minutes away in Belmont, very small town. So this was like all the talk in my hometown. And I was just very proud to get to share that with them, because so many of the stories, they were there for. They were there when I was on the swim team, almost drowning. I mean, they were there for the Girl Scouts, and they were there for my coming out. Like all these significant moments in my life, they were like, yep, that happened. Right.
And you've obviously told these jokes in front of audiences all over the United States, but what is it like having an audience filled with your friends and family?
It's bonkers. It's bonkers, because I think they're so excited for me that people forget that we were taping it. So I would be like telling a joke, and one woman in the balcony would, after every joke, would be like, yep, that's right. Or like, yeah, that's happened to me too. And I had to be like, ma'am, can you please stop?
Like, we can't have you up on Netflix with the commentary.
I'm like, as much as I would love for you to be a part of my special, let's just, inside voices. So, but it all comes from a lovely place of them just wanting to support me. And I think everybody's so proud of this special, and they know how hard I've worked to get here. 17 years in LA, 14 years in comedy, and to be an overnight stand-up comedian.
What I love about this is I've seen you comedically on a lot of different shows, but I didn't know much about you, and I really do feel like after watching this stand-up, I have a better idea of who Fortune is. So was that important for you to now like establish people, like let people know like who you are?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I set out for that, but then it ended up sort of like coming up to the surface, and I liked that. I like that aspect of it, because I think if you were to watch me on certain TV shows, I always play like the Timpani sketch that I did for Netflix. I'm bonkers. I'm doing these crazy characters. I'm silly. I'm out there, but there are definitely sides to me, and I never wanted to just be a woman comic or a gay comic or a large person. I'm like, here are different facets of who I am, and my hope is that no matter what your background is or who you are, that you find something relatable in these stories. Because at the end of the day, I'm a person who, I came from this small town, and I just was trying all these different things, trying to be somebody who other people wanted me to be, in the goal of just trying to figure out who I was. And I don't know.
Which is very relatable.
Yeah, I think that's pretty universal.
I think a lot of people try on a lot of different hats and
Yeah.
stuff just to see like what feels the most authentic.
Few people come out of the womb being like, this is me. You know, it's trial and error. And as a comedian, I can find the funny in that and be like, this is the ridiculous stuff that I did. And also my family provides a lot of material. There's a lot of silly stories. But then there's also I tried to tell stories that were also poignant. Like they're funny, but also here's a person trying to come out to their mom, and what is that like? And it's scary, and there's fear. But here's the beautiful thing that happens as a result.
The big full circle picture.
Exactly.
It's called Sweet and Salty. Why is that the name?
Two reasons. One of my favorite jokes from the special is my story about being on the swim team. This is not a swimmer's body. I know you guys have a hard time believing that. But I tried it. I joined the swim team for the fun dip. Because they used to eat sugar before they raced.
For the fun dip, like
for the fun dip
candy.
Yeah, it's true. I only joined because I saw the swimmers were eating fun dip before they raced, so I was like, sign me up. And I spent the entire swim meet, instead of swimming, I was eating fun dip and nachos, going back and forth, sweet and salty, sweet and salty. So that's in the joke that I really enjoy telling. But then also it's my personality. I think most people that know me know I'm a I like to think a kind person, a sweet person. My jokes come from a sweet place, and then every now and then I'll throw in a dirty joke or be a little spicy, a little salty, and so it's kind of describes who I am.
It's also a little bit for everybody because you know they always say you either like savory or salty. And
Yeah,
like this is like for everybody.
It's a little bit of everything. You got the like family friendly stuff, and then they're not. Put the earmuffs on the kids; they can't hear that joke. Yeah.
And I love hearing about the swimming days and you putting on the swimsuit and what your preferred swimwear is and all of these things.
Sweatpants,
right?
And cut off t-shirts. That's my lesbian swimsuit.
You make a lot of jokes about your body image. So take me through your evolution with your body image and how you got to a place where you could joke about it and share your own story.
It's a journey, right? I don't know that any of us get to the place where like we're completely comfortable. I mean, even the most beautiful, the thinnest people I know are like, oh, I hate my body. And you're like, what?
The woman, that's just like what it is.
Yeah, I think it's part of our DNA. But, you know, I was always big. I say that in my special. I was born 10.5 pounds. I mean, I'm a big baby. And so I was always a big kid. And, you know, when you're a kid, it's hard because you're just trying to like fit in. But it's always been a part of who I am. And so I think at some point you have to just be like, all right, this is who I am. I've got to, what is the alternative? Hating myself. And why? Why do we want to do that? Why do you want to hate yourself? So find the love, find a way to, accept yourself for who you are. But also I can try to be healthier. And I talk about that in my special. Like it is a seesaw. It's up and down, but like I'm making attempts at, to try to make better choices for the long-term health, but not hating myself in the process.
Everything in moderation.
Exactly.
You do mention, though, that you lost 40 pounds.
I did. I'm more like 32 pounds at this point.
It was the holidays.
Yeah.
But that's such, it's not about the number. I can tell that was something really important for you goal-wise.
Yeah.
And that you wanted to feel good about yourself in those ways. So why was that something you wanted to share, that journey?
Well, I wanted to share that journey because it spawned from getting engaged and seeing my engagement photos. And because when you're newly in love, you're just eating all the time, and we both were pretty horrified at our engagement photos. So we knew that we needed to like lock it down and do something about it. But then I also got, people are shocked by this story, and if you watch this special, you can hear the whole thing. I had a doctor smack my bare belly, and everyone is like, what?
It is so horrible. And the way you tell it's great.
And that could have happened in a way where you just like feel horrible about yourself. But I came home and the comedian in me was like, I just got my bare belly smacked. What happened? But it definitely like set off this thing in my head of like, all right, you gotta do. If people are smacking your bare belly, there's a problem. And so I was like, for the first time in my life, I finally attempted to be healthy, and what that looked like for someone like me who's never tried to be healthy, and it did have results. It turns out when you diet and exercise, you lose weight. Who knew?
Crazy.
It's like, I've gone to a spin class before, and I've seen all these, like, very fit people, just, they're so
All in
doing it,
turbos.
sweating. And I honestly had that thought. I go, oh my God, this is why they're skinny. Like, it's so simple, but of course.
It's so hard, though. It's so
I
hard.
know. I mean, it's way more fun to eat a hamburger.
Oh, I agree.
And sit on your couch and watch my Netflix.
Eating some Fun Dip.
But again,
Watching Sweet and Salty is my
exactly.
preferred hangout time.
M&Ms and Fun Dip and something salty like popcorn. But then also, like you said, moderation.
You also, I love the way you navigate your sexuality and how you had to kind of grow into it in your whole experience.
Yeah.
And I think I just loved hearing about your journey because, it's such a personal thing to each person. And it really, I think, informed you and the projects you choose to be a part of.
Yeah.
So can you tell me why it was so important for you to share your journey of growing up in North Carolina and how your family and just how everything came together?
Well, I think part of my story is that I came out late in life because I didn't see myself represented when I was growing up. I don't know, that's important for everyone. Everyone, like, it means something to see someone who looks like you or is like you out there in the world. You go, oh my God, I can identify. That's me. Like, I feel those things, and I didn't have that. So as silly as it sounds, it did have a direct effect on, I think, me coming out later. I think if it had been something I saw more of, it might have triggered something in me that's like, oh yeah, like I like boobies. I don't know, whatever it is. And so I wanted to be that representation for somebody. Like, okay, I'm going to tell you my story because maybe you can relate to this if that helps you. I even say at some point, if you're, the little girl in Oklahoma wearing sweatpants and cut off T-shirts, I see you. And then I wanted to share the part of coming out to my family. Everyone has a different coming out story. And it was something that I think everyone has fear in doing. It doesn't, even if you're not gay, telling your family anything that you're being like, here's the thing about myself I discovered, I'm sharing it with you. It's hard.
It's a vulnerability.
It's a vulnerability, and you don't know what their reaction is going to be. I wanted to share that, to be like, here's what this looked like for me. Yeah. I'm one of the lucky ones in that my family, for my brothers, it wasn't.
I was going to say, your coming out stories are very funny.
Yeah. Wasn't a surprise for my brothers, but for my mom, it was a very poignant moment of like her. And in my half hour, I talk about coming out to my dad. They, in their own way, accepted me. And it ended up being funny for comedy, luckily too. But it was an important story that I wanted to share. But also, I wanted to make the special about lots of different things. So it wasn't just like, oh, she's just talking about being gay, or she's just talking about this. It's like, oh, here's a full life that I'm giving to you, hopefully.
I have to know, has the Lifetime Network reached out to you? I mean, would you ever do a film on that network given the influence that their movies had on you?
Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? I would love to be in a dramatic Lifetime movie.
You want to get murdered on Lifetime?
Yes.
Don't we all?
I talk about the murder stories on Lifetime a lot in the special. So much that they ended up trimming some. I was talking about murder so much.
Murder.
Yeah. But yeah, Lifetime was a catalyst also for me coming out. And I don't know if they've seen my special yet, so they don't know my affinity for their Lifetime movies, but they will.
I think there's a really easy collaboration that could happen there.
I did do one project that aired on Lifetime. It was a TV show, American Princess. So I've been Lifetime movie adjacent. So I'm just waiting for my dramatic role.
I can feel it coming.
I want to play I want to be like a straight woman who's like, just mad at my husband and just like, where were you? And then he murders me. because I dared ask.
You still end up murdered no matter
No
what.
matter what.
And then
you get murdered.
can I like play your best friend who was like, she told me if anything happens, he did it.
Yeah, I've got a whole booklet here that she mailed to me. So should something happen to her and no one believes you?
Would you guys watch this?
Guys, this is an amazing movie.
It feels like gold, but I don't know. Maybe that's just you and me.
You and I can film it no matter what.
Okay, please. Let's just start.
Lifetime's like,
we're trying to sell some
we
movies
don't
to Lifetime.
want this.
We've already done this film 100 times, guys. But you have enough other projects going on. I was recently watching The L Word. I saw you pop in there.
Very tiny little cameo.
Little cameo.
Just like this in a couple episodes. Hi, guys.
But in terms of representation and growing up and not having access to a show like that, it must have been really cool to be on the reboot of that show.
Because I wasn't even out when that show first aired. I was in the closet, like secretly watching the DVDs in my room with the door locked, being like, I hope no one finds out. And then to now be like, I'm in a couple episodes. I'm a gay out comic. It's pretty crazy to see that, that time span, what happened. But for me, I was just like kind of fangirling on set, just being like talking to Jennifer Beals, like, I'm a fan. And she's like, whoa, calm down. All right. And no, she was lovely. She had made these photo books from the original series because she was always taking pictures. And she ended up giving me one because she's like, I can tell this girl's a fan.
This means a lot to you.
So, for me, it was more, I was basically getting paid to just like fawn over everybody. And I'm like not a significant part of any part of that show. People even are kind of like, what is Fortune doing in the background? But I'm there because why not?
And I love that you mentioned you're like my 17-year overnight success. I mean, you've been working incredibly hard, which is why I wanted to bring up all this stuff because it's like, what age did you move to LA and could you have imagined just how your career has taken off?
Yeah, I moved there at 23 and I, worked my way up. I worked for 8 years at comedy, not getting paid, not making any money, getting no's constantly. I tested twice for SNL. Didn't, so close.
And you don't really get no's there. They just
don't call you back. You're just like, oh, that's the new cast, and I'm not in it. And you're just like so close to dreams. You're like, oh, I'm like right there, and then nope. So you're just getting, constant rejection, and you're trying to just pay your bills. That's the goal. People are like, no one's going out there being like, I'm gonna be a movie star. You're just like, I just want to pay my utility bill, and so what it does though is it makes you stronger. It makes you take the no's and figure out a way around them. Like, okay, I got to know, and I'm still getting no's constantly. But you learn to be a little bit more self-reliant. I started writing more. I've sold a couple movies, a couple TV shows, because I realized early on, I'm like, people aren't writing for someone like me. I got to create it myself. And it made me, work harder, I guess. And then I started working, I think at 31, I started working pretty steady. Chelsea Lately was a big break for me. And then after Chelsea Lately, started doing a lot more acting. So what's funny now is that people know me from the Mindy Project or Life in Pieces or different things, and they don't know I do stand-up. But that was always, I started in improv and stand-up, so this has always been a part of me.
Would you ever move away from stand-up, or is that just something that is always kind of grounding for you?
I think it will always be a part of my career because that live audience, that connecting with people is so important, and acting is a lot of, you're getting paid to like eat craft services and wait around. It's not quite as, I love it, and I'm so grateful for any opportunity because that's another part of the business that I find really fascinating. But stand-up it humbles you and it's gritty. There's something about it. Like when you are on set, it's a little, people are getting things for you and I don't know, that you need like to then go to a comedy club and be sitting in a dressing room that's the closet. It's just like you need those two dualities to keep you a normal person.
You need that balance.
I do.
With that said, you do have an upcoming film that I just saw with Jennifer Gardner.
Yeah, they're still filming, but I just wrapped. It's called Yes Day. It's based on a a very popular book, and it's a family movie, and Jennifer Garner is the star of it. Really amazing cast, and I got to come in and be a ridiculous character again. And my first day, I had to drive an ambulance with her in the car. And they're just like, "You're good, right?" And I'm like, "What?" So I had to learn how to drive this giant vehicle very quickly.
You don't need a special license for that?
I apparently not, at least not to drive it just a block. Yeah.
That's interesting.
I was like, I can drive it a block, but she's so lovely, and I admire like how she really uses her platform to do so many good things for people. So she's someone that, I think people look up to her, and there's a reason for it.
Yeah, she does seem like the real deal.
Yeah.
I don't know her, but she seems cool.
Listen, I'm a fan. I'm a fan of her. I'm a fan of Jennifer Aniston. Anyone named Jennifer, I like you.
So then were you freaking out with the Jennifer Aniston Brad Pitt photo at the SAG Awards? Like, were you like the rest of us, like,
I mean, Jennifer's my girl. I drove her in an Uber in a office Christmas party. So I have so much love for her. I just, Brad's a beautiful man. Even I can appreciate his beauty. To me, they sort of look like siblings now. They're so
like very
beautiful.
tan siblings with
Yeah.
gray hair?
Everybody's like rooting for them to get back together. I just want whatever's best for her.
Yes.
That's what I say.
You're a good friend.
I got her back.
I love that.
I mean, Brad's pretty handsome though. So,
I'm just saying, if chemistry,
if something
felt it.
happens, I don't blame her.
Nope, we're not going to judge her
Yeah.
if it happens.
But I don't know. I don't know what's happening there. But we're all speculating, right? Will they? Won't
like,
they?
don't care.
You guys are like, we don't know what you're
Whatever,
talking
just
about.
I care. We do have a couple of questions before we get out of here.
Sure.
Here's the first one.
Fortune, thanks for being here.
Oh, thank you.
As an out gay performer myself, I just want to thank you for being you. And it's absolutely right what you're saying. Representation really matters.
Yeah,
I want to
you.
ask you a question. You had a role on The Simpsons last year.
Mm-hmm.
How did that come about, and what was your experience working with them?
Oh, that was a dream come true, and I mean a dream that I didn't even think was possible because it's such a revered show and it's so hard to get on there. I mean, I was drawing pictures of Bart when I was like 10, and so it happened because I am a regular on a new animated show on Fox called Bless the Hearts. It's about a Southern family, and so it's in that Fox family, and it was the same casting director as The Simpsons. And the writer had written this really great character who's basically a female Homer. And it's the first girlfriend of Marge's sister, Patty. And they said, they basically were like, we want a Southerner to do this. And they called to talk to me about it. And I was like, oh, this is amazing. And then we hung up. I'm like, I wonder when the audition is. And they're like, oh no, you got it. I'm like, what? So it blew my mind that I was even on their radar. And when I got to see it on screen, like, I'm like, that's my voice with Homer. It's so crazy. And I got to eat a donut. Yeah, I mean, not me, but my voice, so it was a pretty special thing to get to do. Yeah.
Very cool. A good question. Next.
Hi.
Hi.
Do you have any favorite classic comedic movies that you enjoy watching over and over again?
Classic comedic movies. I was always a fan of the National Lampoon movies. My family, we called ourselves the Griswolds because we were always just a hair off doing things. We were very ridiculous. I love the old John Candy movies. Those were pretty great. But then, like a little more modern, I'm a big Will Ferrell fan, so I'm always watching like old school or also like the Zoolander from, it's Ben Stiller. I like the ridiculous movies that take you out of reality a little bit and you see people commit to these crazy characters. Those are pretty classic.
I love those movies as well. There was like
Yeah.
a really beautiful time for those too. Like
Yeah.
Anchorman, like they were just like these extremely silly movies.
For sure.
That were so funny and the writing was so tight that
Yeah.
they weren't just silly. They were like great movies.
Yeah, I don't think it's been announced. There's a movie coming out that I am a tiny part in, and it's a nod to like that crazy, funny, ridiculous thing. It's coming out this summer, and I wish I could tell you what it is, but you will love it. It's so crazy and fun.
I'm looking forward to it. If you're in it, I know I'll love it. I did love your stand-up, learning everything from your Girl Scout days to your debutante days to your swimming career.
Thank you. So many different silly
I think your fans
stories.
are going to really love it. So congrats on it.
I appreciate
and you guys can check it out. It is streaming today on Netflix. And put your hands together for Fortune Feimster.
Thank you. Thank you guys so much.